What was Ed like as a person? Charlie Carr, Boston, Massachusetts.
Ed was an assuming man, a specter. He was a presence. He drove this big old funky looking wheelchair, which he had built for him. He had this mammoth respirator like going. He had this, this respirator tube going into his vent, his hole. He sat back in his wheelchair. He was up high. He wore these funky clothes. He had these wild furry boots. And when you went to a meeting, it was like he was the Queen Mary out at sea, and there were these tugboats all around him, guiding him around. And he would have everyone from the most important person in the movement to little plebes like me. And I'd be off in the distance just admiring him and watching the drama. And he would be more interested, and he would talk more and engage more of the little plebes like me than he would the big politicos. And that was the essence of Ed. He was more interested in, hey, so what's going on where you are right now? And tell me something. And, help me stay grounded. And I'm more interested in what you have to say than these people, because they're getting kind of comfortable. I want you to tell me how it is today. And it helped him to stay grounded, and it helped us because we were talking to the guru, the father, and he cared about us. And when he spoke to you, you felt so important and so valued that I can't describe it. And as I became, quote, more important and more recognized, I saw that happen to other people. The magic of Ed connecting with you and making you feel like you are the only one in the room. And he did that time and time again. The other thing that Ed did that blew me away was he would come into a room, he would be completely unprepared, but yet he could take a pen from his pocket and he could talk to you about that pen, and he could tell you a story that would be right on the money. It would drive home everything that 50 people in that room had been talking about for 3 hours. And the other thing that he did was every single time I ever met Ed in a room full of people or one-on-one, he would take the person who was his attendant, he would bring them in, he would introduce them, and he would publicly thank that person for getting him out of bed that day. He would tell you how important that person was to his life so that he could be there to be with you that day. He always acknowledged the people that helped him to get where he was, even if it was out of bed and drove him to the room that day. He was an advocate's advocate.